Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you're doing absolutely fine. Lately, we got a lot of requests from business analysts and recruiters who were looking for business analysts. So we thought, why not make a video for them so that it helps either side of the panel understand what are the traits that a business analyst must possess and you must look forward in a business analyst. But before that, do subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon to stay updated. Let us know in comment section below if you have any future aspirations to become a business analyst. As I always say, let's get started. Welcome back, guys. So before starting, let us understand first, why is business analyst role required in an organization? Now, if you see prior to a decade earlier, business analyst was not a role which was of high demand, but now it's something which is a mandate in most of the organizations. Reason? The only reason is lack of communication. Communication is something which is very required between client and the vendors, especially and also within the company, to percolate the information from the business to the technical team. But it has been lately observed that because of some gap, the requirement of business is misinterpreted, and the final output, which is provided by the technical team, comes out to be something different. And this leads to heavy loss of finance, efforts, and loss of time. So these are some things which now people are realizing, and they want someone in the middle who can help either side, the business and the technical team, understand and bring them on the same page. And that is where the role of a business analyst comes in. So today what we will be doing is we will be discussing, so this video will be mostly into multiple parts, and I would be discussing few of them today, and maybe I can continue the same sections in my next video with some new added points. So starting with, when you go for an interview where you are applying for a business analyst position, so the first thing which the person wants to understand is, are you currently operating in a client facing role? Because being a business analyst, it's very much required that your communication with different stakeholders must be strong. You must not be an introvert person who doesn't like talking to people, and at the end of the day, um, it will be of no use, because whatever information you get from the business, it will be of your interpretation might be something different, and the fact would be something else. So it's always required that when you are applying for a business analyst position, make sure this is something you should have. That is, you must be working in a client facing role, and that is what companies want. The second point, which is the most important thing, because people who are working in the role of a business analyst will understand that the most important word for a BA is requirement. And when it comes to requirement, the most connected word to requirement is requirement gathering. So there are a lot of questions which revolves around requirement gathering for a business analyst. Number one being, how do you conduct requirement gathering? Number two is, what are the techniques that you use to do requirement gathering? And some interviewers might also ask you, what are the different requirement gathering techniques, which is usually asked to a person who is joining at a junior level. But someone who is joining at a tenured level or a mid level or a higher level is definitely asked about his techniques, the techniques that he or she uses during a requirement gathering session. So be prepared of what you are going to answer, and prepare answers for these questions before heading on to any interviews. Next thing, which is a for sure thing that becomes part of an interview, is a case study. Now, these case studies are not like the usual case studies where there are long paragraphs and you need to analyze and you need to provide the results. Yeah, there are some interviews where you might get these kind of case studies as well, but usually case studies are in the form of a flow. So you need to explain a flow of how you start with your requirements and then how you pass it over to the other teams. So when it comes to case study, the first question usually the recruiters want to understand is how do you identify participants in any requirement gathering session. So what are those things, or how do you actually identify those people? That is the first question they want to understand. Second question is, what are the questions that you ask them in a requirement gathering session? Now once you are, once you ask the question, you get back the response. So the next question comes in where they want to understand how do you document these requirements. So there are different ways in which requirements can be documented. So be prepared to answer these questions. The next thing which they usually want to understand is how do you interpret these business requirements and convert them into functional requirements, because business requirements are something very different. They will be just a one-liner or maybe a paragraph stating what exactly the business wants you to do, but what changes needs to be done in the system in order to achieve that business requirement is something you need to figure out. So how do you interpret them and what are the steps that you take to get your functional requirements? That is the next question that interviewers want to understand. Now once this case study question is done, the next question, and very important question, which most recruiters ask, is how do you handle a change in requirement? So let's say the requirements are set and the development of that particular product is on the go and it's working well. In the middle, the business comes in and says that we are making change to one of our requirements and this is it. So how do you handle such a situation? That is something for which answers are different. So it is different when it comes to a waterfall. It is definitely very different when it comes to agile. So be prepared to answer both sides of the question. Usually nowadays recruiters, everyone is moving towards agile. So agile is something you must be very aware about. Now talking of agile, the next question which recruiters would like to know and would like to understand is, do you have experience of working in an agile environment, or have you got the chance of experiencing how to work in Scrum, how to work in Safe? So these are some questions which definitely they want to hear the answer from your side. Okay. Having said that, when it comes to, so inside agile there are a lot of things, and for which I think I have to take a separate session, because even there are a lot of candidates who are coming to me for scrum master roles, for product owner roles. So definitely I'll be making separate videos for them. But when it comes to agile, one of the questions which definitely comes in, and it also applies to waterfall, is that what are the metrics that you use to keep track on the progress of your project? So be prepared to answer these questions, because these are something very important. And let me tell you, this is not it, and this is not the only video that I'm going to make on it. And this is my list of 6 areas which are very much required for you to prepare. Stay tuned for my next video, because in my next video I'll be telling you few more questions on what to do and which all questions to prepare for a business analyst role. If you need answers, or if you want to discuss on it, if you want to discuss the practical scenario and how exactly to do it, do contact us. Check out our career progression product on our website, and let us know in comment section below if you really want to understand the answer and if you want to discuss with us regarding any of these questions. So stay tuned till we come up with our next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.